Jai Janendra. And a great pleasure to be with you this morning. And I think always good to get the audience meditating and relaxed before I get to speak. So thank you for that. Just that opportunity to relax and consider the peaceful existence we all have. When I listened to my introduction, the introduction was kindly given. I thought, what am I going to have left to say to this audience? Because it's true that I'm the Vice Chairman of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Jainism. And that what we've been able to succeed in doing is to enable the next census, which comes in 2021, for Jains to declare their religion. Now, we haven't been completely successful, I have to say, despite our best efforts, and I've worked in cooperation not only with Mehul and others, but also with the local MP here, Gareth Thomas, who's the chairman of the all-party group. We have partially succeeded, so that if you do the census online, you can indicate your religion. If you do the written form of the census, you'll have to write in. It won't be on a tick box, which is what we wanted to achieve. It won't be on the tick box, and I suspect that many senior people in our community won't do the online version. So it's actually very important that you, as colleagues and friends, indicate to your friends, family, and everyone else that if you wish to declare your religion as Jain, you will have to write it in and put that in on the written form. It won't be there as an automatic tick box. This is important because Harrow Council and government departments will look at the number of Jains there are across the community and be making assessments on public services that will suit the Jain community. So unless we actually have the data, it's going to be very difficult to argue. And this is important as people become older and more frail within the community, because those very important public services on which we all depend need to reflect the cultural aspects of all religions, not just the main host community, if you like. So that's an important facet that we are trying to seek. The one thing you didn't mention in that kind of introduction is that I've had the opportunity over the last 4 years now to go to India 7 times, including to Srinagar and Jammu. Now, my visit to Jammu is memorable because it is, of course, the city of temples. And there are many, many Jain temples that, in fact, far too many to visit in one go. So I've had the opportunity of seeing firsthand. And the one thing that distressed me when I went to Jammu was the fact that I can't remember the title of the temple, but it was a Jain temple that had to have gun emplacements around it to protect it from terrorist activities. And that depressed me because Jainism is a religion of peace and completely against hostility, yet there in the city of temples there have to be guns to protect the temple. Very sad, and I think that's something that we need to continue to focus on, to see that action can be so that we can all celebrate our religion in peace and harmony. You don't need security out here, because in Harrow we have a proper multicultural, multi-religious community, and everyone respects each other's religions. It's a great shame that in that part of the world that is not respected as well. So quite distressing, but so I've had the opportunity of doing so in Parliament. It's quite right that I am the foremost spokesman for India in the British Parliament, and I was reflecting the fact. In fact, it's today, I think. I'm equally at home speaking to audiences of any religion, but I'm frequently the only white face in the room. And I don't feel uncomfortable about that, but I can understand how often it is difficult, but it helps you appreciate how difficult it can be sometimes when we have communities where people are coming into mixed communities and it's challenging for them. So I do find that appropriate. But yes, I speak up and I speak out on behalf of the Indian community. I always refer to myself as someone who's white on the outside and brown on the inside as a result. And I have been indicated as being a cringe-Jew. That's a Christian with Jewish roots, but honorary Hindu. I haven't quite got the Jain bit in there somewhere, but we'll get that in there somewhere. Because the reality is that we are a multi-faith community, and we actually have to embrace all faiths. As you quite rightly said, I took my oath of office this time. We swear each time that there's an election, when you become a Member of Parliament, you can't be a Member of Parliament until you've taken your oath of allegiance to Her Majesty the Queen. It's up to you how you do it. If you're not religious, you can affirm that oath of office. But if you are religious, then you can swear that oath on the religious text of your choosing. Now, after the election, I went to the Chief Clerk and said, look, I don't want to break any rules here, but is there any reason why I can't swear the oath on more than one religious text? He looked at me and said, well, you'll be in a club of one. It's never been done before, but it's the words that you use, not the religious text. So yes, if you can manage to hold both books, you can do so. So I said, right, I will swear on the King James Bible, which comprises of the Old Testament and the New Testament, and also the Gita. To which point they went, oh, right, okay, I've never been done before, but why not? So I did it on Tuesday evening, and you may see on WhatsApp groups and other messages a scene of me going up to the clerk and saying, I have an unusual request. I wish to swear my oath of allegiance on both the Gita and the King James Bible. And he looked at me and said, so I said, don't worry, there are no handling issues. You can handle the books. It's not a problem. Because on some religious texts, only those of that religion may handle the religious text. But of course, with both the King James Bible and the Gita, there is no such problem. It's a book to embrace all faiths. So I was delighted to do that and to demonstrate that I'm going to be, once again, an MP speaking up on behalf of all people, not just one section of the community. Because I think it's vitally important that we send that strong signal that we are there standing up for people of all faiths and none in the community. And so we fought an election campaign, and we're now in a position whereby we are leaving the European Union on the 31st of January. So it's the end of the mentor. Get Brexit done. and it brings a new opportunity for us as a community. We are going to be reaching out across the world, reuniting with our Commonwealth, forging international trade deals across the world. There are already Australia, New Zealand and Canada. There'll be trade deals done, I suspect, very quickly in the new year. We're going to have a trade deal with the European Union, we hope. That will be negotiated quickly. And one of the big prizes, in my view, is to get a trade deal with India. Because the European Union has been trying to negotiate a trade deal with India for the last 22 years without success. And most of that has been because a lot of the countries within the European Union try and safeguard their economies, whereas India wants to be outward-looking and open in its guise. We're the third biggest investor in India, and India is the third biggest investor in the UK. So we naturally have good economic ties. So we're going to be reaching out in that way, and I see the opportunities for enhanced travel, enhanced cultural visits, enhanced capability of students coming here and students going to India as well, as we build that up. And we also have to build up our security and defence relations, because India is the biggest democracy in the world and is under threat from neighbouring countries, if I can put it that way. I'm not going to get into too much controversy, but India is threatened by terrorism on a regular basis, and therefore we have a natural alignment with India to be secure in the world and ensure that India is secure in the world. So that I think one of the things that I always find as a challenge when you come to a Jain audience is because Jains, as you all do, believe in peaceful coexistence. It's true, we should be living in peace, but sometimes there are people that threaten our peace. And we have to be ever vigilant to ensure that people that threaten our peace can never succeed. So you have to have strong defence and strong security to make sure that people can live in peace and harmony, which is something I passionately believe in. But you're quite right, I've served on my kind introduction there on a number of committees. I'm also Secretary of the 1922 Committee, which is the committee of Conservative MPs who are not in government. So we oversee the work of the government and indeed conduct the leadership elections and such like. So we had a strong hand last year in electing Boris Johnson as Prime Minister and leader of the Conservative Party. So those are things that we will be featuring very strongly as we move forward. And for the next 5 years, we now have a government with a stable majority, which enables us to move on and do things like improving our police force, improving our education system, improving our health service, and improving the quality and quantity of housing available. And it comes to one of my passions, that of helping homeless people. Because if you've got no home to live in, and you're sleeping rough, your mental health degrades, your physical health degrades, and you just don't feel rejected by society. So it's quite true, I pushed through the Homelessness Reduction Act in the last but one Parliament, and it's going to be one of those areas that we have to improve on. We still see too many people sleeping rough, not having a home to live in, and about 300,000 people in this country who are homeless, living in someone else's home. So we have a massive job to do to change society, to make sure that there is protection for those people. And I think I consider it part of my savour, if you like, to make sure that we deliver on that, because for far too long there have been far too many people suffering in that way. And so I want to claim the mantra of saying we should be in a position whereby everyone has a stable home in which to live. It's going to be a big challenge to achieve this because of the numbers of people involved and sometimes the chaotic lifestyles of those people that have led them to being in that position. But I think it's our duty as a country to make sure that happens, and I'm going to dedicate my 5 years to doing precisely that. And indeed, I welcome people to come to Parliament. I host many events in Parliament for all sorts of communities, but the Jain community as well, and I'm looking forward to continuing to provide that as we open Parliament up and bring people in to see how we operate, and also using the facilities to enhance the community. So thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me to come along and speak to you today and play a part in this celebration. And I wish you well for the future. Jai Jayanti.